I can't stop. Hey y'all, I'm James Wright and welcome to my shop. A while ago I did a video on piston fitting drawers and how do you actually make the panels fit the way you want them to. And that was great for the first half of the step, but I really wanted to do another half of, okay, you've cut them to length, you've done your dovetail jointing. Now how exactly do you take the drawer and make it fit? Because there's always going to be slight differences and changes that happen over the jointing, and it's just not quite going to work out right. So how do we actually go about piston fitting the drawer itself to the slot? Let's take a look at this. So at this point, you've done all the dovetail work, you've got the boxes glued up, they're ready to fit in, and there's going to be one of two things that happen. Either number one, it's not going to fit in at all, and it's going to be just kind of tight one spot or another. It becomes fairly obvious that I can slide in over here, but I'm tight height-wise here, and I got a little bit of bump on this corner here. So this panel didn't glue up exactly flush in the bottom, so it's sticking out a little bit here. So I have to plane off a little bit here and a little bit here to make it fit in. Or number two, what's going to happen is you're going to get it and it's going to slide in beautifully, just like that, until it doesn't. And now it's starting to get tight. So I can look at this and I can tell I've got very little, if no, up and down movement, so I need to take care of that. But it's also tight in here width-wise. And I like to leave these panels sticking out slightly farther so that the tails are actually inset a little bit. I'd rather plane down the face than plane down the tails. Because remember, I piston fit these panels to fit the drawer slot exactly. So these panels are the exact length I want, so I don't want to make these panels any shorter. I want to actually make the walls of the drawers thinner. So I need to make this one slightly thinner width-wise and also slightly thinner height-wise. Now, speaking of gaps that I'm shooting for on these, because I'm here in the winter, I know that I'm going to have some movement. And in this drawer size of about 7 inches high, my movement is probably only going to be 32nd to a 16th of an inch, if that. So I want to leave 1/8 inch right now in the winter. I want to leave 1/8 inch total, so a 16th of an inch on either side, top and bottom. If I'm doing this in the summer where it's hot and it's moist, it's going to be contracting. So I may only want to leave a 16th of an inch total on the side, so a 32nd on either side and a 32nd on the top. It depends on what time you're putting it together. But know that in the winter, things are going to be small, and in the summer, they're going to be bigger as it absorbs more moisture. So let's actually get into showing how we can make this thinner this way and flush things up. So this is the second drawer, and in this one was a little bit too wide right here at the opening, and I want to actually thin it out. I don't want to take off much, less than a 16th of an inch on either side. And in this case, these side panels are actually sticking out a little bit farther than the length of this board. So I'm just going to take these panels down to flush with the ends of this board and then go back and test it again. So to do that, I'm actually going to clamp it in this leg vise, which I made recently. Works out really well for this type of thing, so I can open it up wide enough for that. And I'm just going to start with a number 4 and just take a little bit off. And I'm going to be really careful because here I'm going with the grain here, I'm going against the grain here, and then I'm hitting end grain. So this is about the worst of all scenarios. I don't want to use a low angle on this because it's going to tear up when it goes against the grain here. A normal number 4 set up really nicely for a smoothing plane will do this well. I have a whole video on setting up one of these for a smoothing plane if you want to see that. But I'm just going to do a couple passes here. Just take a little bit of width off. And I'm just focusing on the first 6 inches or so of this board. I just want to make it fit into the slot, and then we can see how it works. So I did this side. It's all nice and smooth and flush here. I'm going to do the same thing the other side and then go back and test it. So at this point, let's test it. And I can tell it will fit in widthwise. It's got about a 16th of an inch slop side to side, but it's starting to jam up here. So this side is actually a bit too high. This side looks pretty good. So I'm just going to clean up this edge, and I'm going to actually bring the top edge of this down completely flush with the front here. So let's take it back over and do that. I just have this clamped in my end vise, and I like to use a little bit of a protection piece so I'm not garring up one side or the other. I dog on the other side and I can clamp it down. This allows me to work on this top rim very easily, and I can work in any direction on here without causing it to shift around. So now I've got it back in here, and I can tell there's about a 1/16 of an inch that this is higher than this surface. And that's perfectly fine. It's flush on the bottom. It's actually up a little bit, not too much of a problem. So I actually want to take this edge down until it's flush with this. And it's got a little bit of a lip back here too. I'm going to flush that off too. So just use a number 4, or actually whatever you want, because this is fairly straight grain. I just want to be careful when I'm starting and stopping. If I do end up going across the grain on the front, I may make it look a little bit funny. And I don't like making things look funny, so just be careful when I get close to that. I can skew it a little bit and go in both grains. Now that I've gotten close to the surface, I actually want to start at a bit of an angle. So I'm at 45 degrees to both of these boards. And that skew will allow it so that if I nick into this surface, it doesn't show up quite as much. There we go. So now it's nice and flush all the way around. We can go back and test it again. So we can bring it back here and test it again. And when it slides in, I can see that there's about an 1/8 to a 1/16 top to bottom, just where I want it. There's about a 1/16 side to side up here. So I have all the gaps all the way around here, but it's still not sliding in. And this is where people start to get really confused, and they'll take off more and more material until it gets so small. And you don't want to do that, because what can happen is it's too fat in the back. This particular drawer slot is actually kind of pie-shaped, so that it is thinner at the back and wider at the front. Not by much, just by a few thousandth or 32nd of an inch. It's not that much of an issue to cause it to kind of wedge at the back. Now, if I wanted to, I could shove this in, and it fits, and so it goes in just like it should. But the back is a little sloppy. So what I want to do now is bring it out, clean down these sides, and it should slide in like butter. So exactly like I did on the front, I'm going to do the same thing on the back and make sure it works out well. Then we'll come back and try it again. So now I brought it back from cleaning up this surface nice and flat and this surface nice and flat. Then I just trimmed up this back edge just a little bit more. And just like before, I'm going to slide it in and see how it goes. And just like that. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now, if you don't have a way of getting at it, in other words, side, bottom access, before sliding it in the first time, you want to put a little piece of tape up and over this edge so that you can grab the piece of tape and pull it out. But because I have access all the way around, I'm not really caring about that right now. Now, let's talk a moment about sizing to the drawer frame. Now, this is not going to expand and contract this way much at all. All the grain is running across, so it's not going to expand and contract any measurable amount, maybe a thousandth of an inch or so, but not enough to cause a problem one way or the other. Now, it is going to expand and contract this way because all the grain is running horizontal, so it will expand across the grain. And in this case, I might get a total expansion on a really wild year of a 1/16 of an inch. Maybe. Probably I will never see more than a 32nd inch because this will be in air conditioning, so it's not going to expand and contract that much at all. So when I slide it in and out, I want to be able to move it up and down, in my case, about a 32nd to a 1/16 of an inch. If I leave a total of an 1/8 inch gap all the way around, I'm going to be perfectly fine. There might be a little bit of a slop all the way around it, but oh well. You'll figure out a size that works for you. But if you leave a 1/16 of an inch all the way around, you're going to have far more space than you need, and it's really not going to be much of a problem. So make it slide in and out, make it feel good. I'm going to be putting in drawer stops in the back eventually. I don't have those in here yet because I'm going to be sizing them for every drawer individually, as opposed to just putting a back on and they all slide to that. So now that it's piston fit, it slides in just the way I want it to. I'm going to go through and clean up all the sides, smooth the surfaces, set the smoothing plane to a really tight tolerance, and go all the way around the rim and the sides and the face and make them all feel good, and it will be basically done. So let's jump to that. So there you go. I have two drawers that are ready to go, and with just a little bit of movement, I can slide them in, or I can even push from the other side. And they slide in just like butter. So I'm having a lot of fun here. I have a ways more to go. I just finished 2 of the drawers. I have another 8 to do, but as you can see, they're in the process of gluing up. And so that is basically what I do for piston fitting drawers. I size the panels specifically to the opening in every specific slot. And then I join them together so that the outsides are a little bit larger than they need to be, and I can plane down the surface rather than the tails. And then it's just a little bit about tweaking them, making sure that they fit sliding them in, testing where you need to take off some material and put it back in until you get that really nice fit. Leave it with a little bit of movement side to side, up and down, so that you have some expansion, some space for finish on there, and away you go. I am really looking forward to how this is coming out. I have a lot more work to do on it. Got to finish up these drawers, got to do the top, have a lot of detail work, have to clean up all these tenons, and we'll have a dresser up and going here soon. So these are not perfect. There are a lot of little inconsistencies. There are things that are slightly off, but they fit. Each drawer fits in its own slot, and I doubt this one would fit in that slot, although I haven't tried it. You never know. There are little bits of changes here and there, and you don't have to worry about that. As long as you fit the drawer to this particular slot, it works, and you're never going to be switching them around when you have your laundry, so why worry about it? Only do the things that you have to and have fun in the shop, and that's what I love about this. So don't worry about perfection, make it work, and it looks gorgeous. Just beautiful. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please go ahead and hit that like button and smash the subscribe button over there. Also, I want to say an incredible thank you to the patrons on Patreon. You guys are the reason why I can put out information like this so often. If you'd like to find out more about that, you can click the link right over here for Patreon. Also, if you like this video, feel free to check out one of my others. You might find something you like there. And until next time, have a wonderful day.